I see Jace is here. Jace is live. Let me leave a little message for Jace. And the chat. Also, let's remember to hit the like button. And if you got an extra minute, uh, share them out. You never know. He might come by and need a workout. So, Jace is the one to see. If you need a workout right now, he is live. I got him shout out on my page. Our friend Ash is here. Ash, how are you? Just give me one moment. So, we're going to read verse 80 of the Tao Te Ching. Sir Prescott, F. Shrimpleton the Third is here. Jess, you're up early, my friend. How are you, Jess? It's nice to see you. So, here's what we've been doing, guys. Each morning, 5 a.m. We started doing this with the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is Chandra. How are you? Bhagavad Gita is the holy text in the Vedic, Yogic, Hindu tradition. Man, it's a wonderful book of wisdom. It was a book that Henry David Thoreau took with him to Walden Pond. It was influential to Ralph Waldo Emerson. Oppenheimer quoted it. Unfortunately, he quoted it after he saw the destruction unleashed through his help with the atomic bomb. Shonda says, I'm here in Alaska. What's your time? Good to see you, my friend. It is 5 a.m. Yep. So that's what we started with. 80 or 18 verses, chapters of the Tao Te Ching. We didn't read each chapter. Took a meaningful part. Then we went on to the Tao Te Ching as presented through Wayne Dyer. Change your thoughts, change your life. Which isn't an interpretation, or it isn't a translation. It's an interpretation of the Tao. And we're on verse 80. So we've been doing this for 80 days. Tomorrow's last day. 81 chapters of the Tao Te Ching. So let's read it real quick. When we talk about it, we can talk about whatever. Whatever, guys, you want. Here we go. Imagine a small country with few people. They have weapons and do not employ them. They enjoy the labor of their hands and do not waste time inventing labor-saving machines. They take death seriously and do not travel far, since they dearly love their homes. They are not interested to travel, although they have boats and carriages. No one uses them. They're content with their healthy food, pleased with their useful clothing, satisfied in staying in a snug home, and protective of their way of life. Although they live within sight of their neighbors, and crowing cocks and barking dogs can be heard across the way, they leave each other in peace, whether grow old and die. Here is the Tao. Again, we take everything as a metaphor, not literally. But what Lao Tzu is urging us is the simplicity of life. Sometimes, instead of sending an email, write a handwritten note. Send a letter. Sometimes, instead of whatever complicated means we have of going through life, we just take a breath. We appreciate nature. We appreciate who we are. We appreciate who other people are. So, verse 80 is about the simplicity and the lovingness of just simply relaxing. who we are as we are where we are. As the poet Voltaire said, paradise is where we are, right here. Let's see. Prescott says, I decree as a managing moderator that you, Ash, on pause were called upon by other managing moderators, Flower, aka Flo. Interesting. Borka-san says, I remember you. We talked about Cristiano Ronaldo being the best football player. We did. Well, you did, because I didn't know much about it. I take you at your word. As you know football and I don't. If you say he's the best football player, I got every reason to believe you. I meant to look him up on YouTube to watch him play, because he's got to be a fantastic player. Bill says, who summoned me? I can only imagine. Maybe life. Shonda says, sounds like the best of life, best of living before so much change. I would prefer to live that simple life. I agree. And, you know, we think because so much has changed that we need to keep up with it. And in some aspect, we probably do, but we can keep that interior simplicity. We can nourish a life of quietness, of contemplation, of simplicity. Spend 20 minutes a day in nature. Meditate, pray, study books like the Tao Te Ching or the Bhagavad Gita or the Upanishads. So Prescott says, also, can you give my managing moderator abilities back? I think you accidentally removed it. I think I could do that. That means I gotta remove you though for a second. All right, taken care of. Prescott says that was a nice verse. It was a nice verse, and it's one day away from the last one, day 80. Guys, thank you for sticking with me for 80 days of the Tao Te Ching. We got one more to go. Bill says, why? Indeed, that is the question. I'm sorry that you're depressed, my friend. Um, are you depressed as in suffering from depression or experiencing depression? Or are you depressed because of an outer situation? Both are valid means to be concerned. Gorka says, oh yeah, me, my bad. That's okay. I appreciate your opinion. Because again, I don't know anything about it, so um, it's good to know. We get an oof. Well said, Sir Prescott. Brandon says, who are you talking about? Well, we were talking about the Tao Te Ching. Our friend Bill Cipher, or I'm sorry, our friend Gorka was talking about Cristando. Am I saying that right? Ronaldo as the best soccer player of all. Pardon me. I apologize. Best football player of all time. Ash says, notice how Flowers recommended Yogi to me, and now I watch you, and that's much appreciated. From both you and Flower. Chandra says, I'm sorry to hear that, Bill. I am as well. Cypher says, Ford broke me up. Not sure. Not sure what you mean. And Prescott is asking as well. Chandra says, I think we can all be depressed from time to time. Absolutely. I've talked, man, extensively of my own near lifetime since teenage years, maybe before, um, of depression. That it's been a presence through much of my life. My mother, and she was never treated for it until later, until she already had Alzheimer's, experienced depression. definitely something that has been handed down genetically or epigenetically. I'm not sure. Gorka says, Cristiano Ronaldo, it's okay. Bill Cypher says, well, I'm here right now. You certainly are, my friend. Cypher says, I'm going to drown my sorrows in spirit. Prescott says, football is not soccer. Well, it is soccer in here. And I grew up calling it soccer. So you got to forgive me for making the mistake. Bill says, what are you going to do about it? Well, I guess we could talk about it if you want, if you think it would help. Michael Jordan says, reading causes depression. I guess it depends on what you read, right? Ash says, to Prescott, it can also be known as soccer instead of football, as many countries don't call it football. This is true. Gorka says it's the same, football and soccer. It is. I try to remember um, that much of the world calls it football, so out of respect, I try to remember it, but I grew up calling it soccer, so it's going to slip out. Bill is back sadder than before. I'm sorry. So there's times in my life when I have been um, offered a prescription for medication to treat depression. I have um, never used it. However, some people need it, some people should. It's an individual choice. And if you are deep down into the depth of suffering, definitely seek professional help and listen to that. For me, through decades and decades and decades of literally meditation, yoga, breath work, um, meditation hasn't been treated, it hasn't disappeared. However, something's changed, something's shifted. I've been able to hold it more lightly, that I don't suffer through depression. I am witness to depression happening. I'm witness to its presence. And just by being witness to it, it just feels lighter. It feels different. I'm able to maneuver through it. I see it, I experience it, but I don't suffer through it. Doesn't mean it's great. Doesn't mean that if I had a choice, I would do without it. However, sorry guys, you hear my cat saying good morning. Um, so you know what? In nature, it's therapy. Walking is therapy. Exercise is therapy. Meditation and yoga is therapy. The Sangha, which is spiritual community, medicine, therapy, it helps. It all works. Goka says, guys, are Lay's better than Doritos? Man, I don't eat either one, but back in my day of eating them, I would say Doritos are better than Lay's. Prescott says, my cycles of sadness are slowly leaving. That's good news, Prescott. It's good news, however, man, I'm really sorry that you're so wrong about Lay's being better than Doritos. I still consider you a friend. Flowers says, or I'm sorry, Ash says Flowers is not here yet, and that's weird. She doesn't usually come in too often this early. Of course, it's later for her. Gorka says, let's go, lays on top. Yeah, it's like 3:30 for her, and she's probably at school. Yep, this is true. Ash. Ash is extremely wise. Says either Lay's or Doritos are good. I just prefer Doritos. Oh, Ash says to Prescott, uh, it's Sunday. She reminded me yesterday that it was Saturday. Gorka has Goka. Sorry, I think I put an R in there that says belong. I have church at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. Well, hey, enjoy the sermon. I hope it's particularly meaningful for you today. Prescott says, I've forgotten that every country is Islamic. Um, we have school on Sundays here in Bangladesh, which is 89% Muslim. What is the 11% made of? Got probably a Hindu population, probably a Christian population, maybe Buddhist. Our friend Sean is here. Good morning, Eric. Chat. Hope all is well. Sean, how are you? I hope all is well with you too. Goka says 11% Christian. Well, I would think there would have been with its connection to India, its proximity to India, that there would be a larger Hindu population. Oh, okay. Prescott says Hindus is like the other 8%. Jews and Christians take this 2%. Interesting, guys. Goka says he got it wrong. Hey, that's okay. Yeah, I figured there'd be more of a Hindu-based. There might even be a sliver of Buddhist, as there is a Buddhist population in India. Remember, that is the home of the Buddha. And its neighbors with Myanmar, which is primarily a Buddhist nation. Sean says, everything is great here. Eric, thank you. I'm glad to hear that. Hey, you guys subscribe to Sean Skits? We're on a mission. We're going to get him to 50 subs. Ash says, over here in South Africa, there's 80% Christian and 20% Islamic. Goka-san says, why did Pessi steal the World Cup? That is a good question. I have no idea. Do we have any football fans in the chat that has an answer to that? Goka says, life goes on, I guess. Life goes on and football goes on. There's always going to be another World Cup. And I would have liked to seen Britain. I didn't watch any of it, but I have some British friends, and they were so excited. Let's see. Prescott says there is like a 0.2 Buddhist population. Only a few ethnic groups are Buddhist, like the Chakma. These people are usually near the Myanmar border. That makes sense. Gorka says, yes, sir, you're right. And Myanmar is very Buddhist. Yes, it is. CDP is here. Hello, my friend. Says to Sean, please remove BLM on Jason's live stream, my friend. Goka says, do you know Zoroastrianism? I do, but vaguely so. I'm not familiar with it. Zoroaster was had a profound message, very similar to the message of every great spiritual teacher. CDP says, giving liberates the soul of the giver. Try to give yourself and others all that you can and be loved. Absolutely, my friend. CDP, spreading love, positive message wherever he goes. Always appreciate that. Always appreciate it. So yes, Jace is live streaming, guys. If you need a workout, if you need a positive message, Jace is the place to be. Ash says, I'll be right back. I'm going to take a shower since it's 11:20 a.m. here. If Flower shows up until I went to a shower, I will. We're only going to stay live for another few minutes. Prescott says, yeah, it's like a weird religion. Well, here's, if one religion is weird, every religion is weird. It's all in the eye of the perceiver. When it's your religion, it can be precious, meaningful, um, and an opportunity to draw close to the creator, whatever version of the creator is dear to you. If it's someone else's religion, if we have a tendency to view it through our perspective, through our lens, then we see things as being weird, and that causes division and discord. If we accept that everyone has different means of experiencing love, different means of expressing it, and yet it always remains love itself, because love has no distinctions. Love has no grievances. Love only accepts and holds and heals. Prexus says, didn't mean weird like that. Oh, understood. Just meant it's obscure. Goka says, as a Christian, I respect one of the pillars of Islam, which is to help the poor. CDP says, I have to move on. Does anyone need a subscriber? What do you think, guys? Our friend CDP will subscribe to you if you need one. He's a good friend. He's a good friend of the channel. He is a good friend of YouTube. He is a good friend of the internet. He is a good friend to have in life. Goka says, yes, Elvis Presley. You know what? 2 days ago was the, I believe, 50th anniversary of Elvis's passing. When Elvis passed, supposedly, I could be wrong about this, he had a copy of the Tao Te Ching. He passed away in the bathroom. Yeah, he was studying the Tao Te Ching. I also read that he was studying a book called The Impersonal Life, which I've had. It's a very beautiful little text. You could read it in a couple of days. You could study it for a lifetime. Same with the 81 chapters of the Tao Te Ching, because it's all very short chapters. Prescott says we also have many religious laws on the treatment of animals and their mistreatment, which I'd love to hear, obviously, as a vegan. So, thank you, CDP. Much appreciated, my friend. You know, I don't know if there's any Elvis fans here. As man, Elvis was considered old even when I was young, and I'm fairly old. Um, but I do love Elvis. When I was young, through my teen years, it was the lean, young, wild Elvis, the rockabilly Elvis. As I get older, I see the brokenness of Elvis, the overweight, the bloated. Um, Elvis representing that brokenness within us all. That sometimes life is going to bring us down a bit. And yet, through it all, Elvis remained a seeker. He kept looking for that connection. He kept looking for a healing. To his last breath, having a copy of the Tao Te Ching or the Impersonal Life with him. He was also a student of Paramahansa Yogananda's self-realization. He's the one who wrote Autobiography of a Yogi, who helped me outline my own yogic path. So I feel a connection with Elvis. Goka says, I'd love to tell Elvis have credit to God. He really loved God. And yes, Elvis growing up was a pretty sad, did everything for his fans. Absolutely. Gave everything. He did. Goka, I think you and I talked about this before, right? He did. Even in his brokenness, he wanted to give and give and give. Man, I would have loved to seen him heal. Triple said his message got censored. I didn't see anything. Goku said, oh yeah, we did, my bad. That's okay, I didn't remember either until Elvis came up. Sorry you got censored. I don't know why. So, but, you know, Elvis represents, he's an archetypical figure in our own lives. Can we avoid the sad fate? We certainly can. Goku says, sorry, I love talking a lot about Elvis, Cristiano Ronaldo, and God. Hey, three important subjects, two of which I'm familiar with, one of which I'm not. But hey, I should learn from my friend Goku. Goka, I'm sorry. And indeed, Elvis had a close connection with God, and he looked for many paths, not just Christianity, but again, uh, yoga, Taoism. Goku said, it's okay. I don't see that you censored. What are you putting up that would be censored? You're normally pretty good about that. Goku said, yes, Elvis was a really open guy. Yeah, he was. Prescott says it's illegal in Islamic law to hurt an animal and cause it suffering, pain, which is good. Very much appreciate that. It's the reason I became a vegan. Both Mocha and myself, we've often said, if someone said we have scientific nutritional proof that vegan is the worst diet you can have, it would be a shame for us because we're vegans for the sake of animals. Personally, I've experienced nothing but good health, but maybe it's not for everyone. That's fine. I just do my part. I don't ask anyone to do anything. Anything. I just do my part. That's all I have. I have my life. Goku says, but the Quran says to kill the ones who don't submit to Allah, which I could be wrong about. Not saying in a mean way. Can you explain though? I think always the mistake that we make is when we read everything as actuality and not as metaphor. And look for the deeper meaning. If we read it as metaphor, we could see it as to kill the one that does not submit to Allah means it's only the ego that never submits to God. It's the ego that seeks to reshape God in its own image. It's the ego that is always saying, do this, do this, do that. Literally remaking God in its own image. So the one who does not submit to Allah, the one that does not submit to God, is the ego. And a lot of traditions says we have to kill that ego. I don't believe we do. We just need to recognize the ego as not actually existing. It's a thought form. So when we die to the ego, we are reborn in spirit. When we are reborn in spirit, born again, we realize our connection to divinity itself. Let's see. We're not going to get too deep into the woods as I'm going to head out in just a few minutes. Prescott says, I haven't read the Quran much, but that has been mistranslated because I've learned my entire life that we don't kill the non-believer. It's just they will go to hell no matter how good they were. Goka says, I just need an explanation because we had of context. So Goka, that's my take. Read it as a metaphor. There's a Sufi saying, die before you die, which means die to the ego before you die through the body. And that way you have self-realization now. You realize your divinity now. You realize your connection to God now. Kayla, how are you? Kayla says, good morning, Boo. Good morning to you, my friend. Goka says, you're right, Eric. This is the same as when Jesus says the only way through the Father is through me. He doesn't mean Jesus the person. He means Jesus the Christ. And Christ is a stage of consciousness, Christ consciousness. The only way to heaven, the only way to the Father, is through Christ consciousness, which is also Krishna consciousness, which is also universal consciousness. So this is why, Jesus and God are both referred to as the great I am. I am is that which precedes everything. Nothing comes yet through I am. Nothing comes but I am. When Moses was on the mountain and he was addressing the burning bush and he says, who should I say has sent me? And the answer was, I am that I am. The great I am. Be still and know that I am, from the Psalms. Prescott says in this verse from the Bible, what do you think of 1 Timothy 2:12? Do not permit a woman to teach or have authority over a man. She must be silent. Again, I don't think of it, to be honest with you. But you can read everything as a metaphor. If you were to read it from a Taoist perspective, I'm not sure you have to, but in Taoism, there is the blending of the masculine and feminine. There is the silent feminine nature. Do not permit a woman to teach or have authority over a man. That we have the underlying silence, the feminine energy that doesn't need to teach, that doesn't need to do anything but hold, but embrace, and to love. And it's the masculine energy that creates. In the yogic tradition, it's Shiva, the masculine energy, and Sakti, the creative, all-foreboding, feminine energy. Together, they create the universe. Separate from each other, they do nothing. Together, you have the unmanifest coming together, and we have the manifest. So if you wanted to read it from metaphorical, from a yogic, from a Taoist perspective, we see that it is the feminine energy that lies still. And it's the masculine energy that is offering creation from the feminine. Goku says all those verses are taken out of context, and they also um, reflect the times that they were given, not the times that we live now. You wouldn't read an ancient alchemical text and apply it to science now, would you? You would see that we have greater understanding, more sophistication. It's the way life goes, you know? We gain a deeper and deeper and deeper understanding. Doesn't mean we leave things, teachings from the wise masters behind. It means that we interpret them through what we know today. So yeah, we can all pull, there's no sense pulling, you know, ancient texts out and say, explain this. Dwight is here. Dwight, my friend. The White says, hello once more, fellow traveler. Hello to you, my friend. Goka says, you're right, Eric. I like the way you think. Thank you, Goka. And I appreciate your input here as well. Prescott says, taken out of context, but they still sound horrible in any context. I agree. Goku says, I understand, but the Quran still has a lot of things that sounds really wrong. Yeah, this is why I mainly hold close to, but even they can offer things up through misinterpretation. The Tao Te Ching, the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, um, especially as we read them through our own filters, and we don't have to. Guys, books are a useful source to point us in the right direction, but they're just pointers. And the great Vedic sage Ramana Maharshi likened it to using a thorn to remove a thorn from the palm of the hand. But then you don't hold on to both, you throw them both away. It's like the Buddha said, his teachings are like a raft. Use the raft to cross to the other shore, but then you don't need to pick up the raft and carry it with you over dry land. You leave it on the shore for someone else who might need it. So the answers are within. Meditate, pray, do some breath work, get out in nature, and allow your own divinity to be opened. Hear that silent voice of God that is residing within you now. Alexandria says, good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, my friend. Dwight says, if a mom saw this, she'd go on a rant because she's a Christian. She hates it when people take the Bible out of context. Well, I think everyone takes the Bible out of context because we are reading it from our own perspective. Not even our own perspective, from the perspective that someone else gave us. That a priest, a minister, a reverend, someone else read it and then said, this is how it should be interpreted. And then someone told that priest or minister or reverend how they should read it as well. And on it goes, and on it goes, and on it goes. And yet all of it can be experienced by ourselves within, without anyone having to explain it to us. What does your heart say? When you wake up in the morning and you pray, when you wake up in the morning and you meditate, when you wake up in the morning and you listen to nature, what is it telling your heart? Listen to that. So, Goku says, exactly, Eric. See, you're smart. I like that. I try. I've made my own mistakes, and I continue to make my own mistakes. But what I don't want to do is live my life by those mistakes. I don't want to live my life through those mistakes. I want to recognize I've made mistakes in every context of my life. Can I let it go? Can I forgive myself? And can I have a better life because of those mistakes, because they've been made? And maybe not keep repeating the same ones. At this point in my life, I have repeated mistake after mistake after mistake. I seek not to. Dwight says, from the perspective of generations. Yep, epigenetics. Coco says, I pray every day, but I expect all who have free will to do what you want. Maybe one live stream coming up, we'll talk about free will. Let's see. Some great questions, guys. Prescott says he was ready to hear those buzzwords. That's the thing. You were looking at it from that perspective of those buzzwords. Conditioning. We can let all that go. We can let it all go. All right, guys. It's time for me to take my walk. Hey, Prescott, save the fun fact for this afternoon, please. Not that I don't want to hear it, but I got to go. Prescott says Muslims also believe in Jesus. It's an Abrahamic religion, and they believe he was a great prophet. However, he was not the prophet. All understandable. Adventure Man says, how's it going, buddy? It's going well, my friend. How are you? All right, guys. Adventure Man says I figured, well, I didn't know for sure that it was Noble, but you're a moderator, so I knew I know you. I knew I know you. I know I knew you. One of those, whatever direction, it's the same thing. I like the name change. How are you, Noble? Hey, Noble, I hope we get a chance to catch up. I know next month you're going to be done with your Facebook ban, your self-imposed Facebook ban. So hopefully we can connect and have a means of talking back and forth. Or, you know what? Look for my email on my community page. Send me an email. I'd love to talk, catch up. Goka says, guys, let's all sleep now. It's time for me to go out for work. Goka, enjoy your time at church, my friend. Thank you for being here. Dwight says, Adventure Man, I love your name, fellow traveler. Absolutely. Adventure Man says, I miss you, buddy. I miss you too. I haven't seen much. He's on graveyard shift at the casino. Yep, that'll keep you busy. All right, guys, I apologize. I have to get out and do my walk before the sun comes up, before it gets crowded, catch some nature as it's presented to me pre-sunrise. Sorry. Hey, this was a good conversation. I appreciate everyone here. Let's see, Dwight says, well, my guild calls to me till we meet again. Salutations. As to you, my friend. Goku says, okay, later, y'all. Remember to respect each other. Absolutely. And I love the respectful conversation that we had, guys. Prescott says, bye, eggs, Yog. Adventure Man, I hope to talk to you soon. I'm going to be on the lookout for you. Send me an email if you get an opportunity. Guys, Alexandria, Dwight, Chandra, CDP was here. I appreciate all of you. Ash, thank you. I hope you have an opportunity to catch up with Flower soon. Maybe this afternoon. Guys, take care. See you later.